In Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11, John the Revelator says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." If you are familiar with this verse, you will know that the beast that preceded it came up out of the water, representing a densely populated area we know to be Europe. However, our subject beast comes up out the earth, or a sparsely populated area, we know to be what would become the United States of America. We also know that horns represent power, and this 2-horned lamb-like beast's power was its choice to be a republic, meaning people rule as opposed to kingly rule, and Protestantism, meaning no pope. Freedom to worship as one pleases or not worship at all is enshrined in the First Amendment. Unfortunately, a key point of this verse has been grossly misinterpreted. That is, many have thought the mild, seemingly innocent beast would one day in the future speak like a dragon, when in fact John saw him coming up speaking as a dragon. Is this important? Is this mere semantics? Absolutely not. You will see how very important it is. Nothing in God's holy word is irrelevant and unnecessary. The error comes when people assume and suggest the lamb-like beast will at some point in the future talk like a dragon. When in fact, not only did John see it arise that way, but it has all along talked like a dragon. If God wanted us to think this dragon speech would be in the future, it would have read like Daniel 7 verse 25. "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High." Meaning that, as he arose on earth's scene, or at some point in the future, do these things. This is important, not only because it helps us identify the beast, but it shows us how and why it is fundamentally and inextricably tied to the national Sunday law. But first, let's biblically identify exactly what dragon speech is. Isaiah 14 verses 12 through 14 says, "How are you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? For you said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, in the sides of the north, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." This is dragon speech. In short, the desire for the supremacy over God, no less. The key and most important way to have the supremacy over God is to rule over what is rightfully His. By creation and redemption, all people are God's property, whether they serve Him or not. But if they don't serve Him, then Satan automatically claims them as his servants. This is why God volunteered to showcase Job. He wasn't under Satan's power and delusions. Satan thinks he has the entire world under his control and that all worship him. This is a position of supremacy. To be truthful, he does have the vast majority, and even the Bible acknowledges that he is the prince of this world. But before we get too far ahead, let us consider the actual manifestation of dragon speech in America. What did it look like? How did it sound? Where can we find it? A nation speaks through its laws. America has always had, even to this very day, white supremacy laws on its books. Yes, slavery, then Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and now Christian nationalism, MAGA, and Project 2025. These represent varying degrees of the supremacy for Satan, because they all compel and or enslave the consciences of men to honor that which God abhors. Amendment 13 to the U.S. Constitution, the first of the 3 Reconstruction Amendments, was ratified on December 6, 1865. It forbids chattel slavery across the United States and in every territory under its control, except as a criminal punishment. So if you are deemed a criminal, you can legally be a chattel slave. Many inmates are slaves today. But there has been discrimination of every kind. Redlining where blacks could not live in certain neighborhoods, the last hired and first fired on many jobs, etc. And while many think this to be old news, there is a vast resurgence to reinstate all of these demonic oppressive measures. This indeed is MAGA and tied to the supremacy for Satan. It's a package deal. Evangelicals get to fix the world through draconian and oppressive measures, disguised as beneficial to society, and Satan gets worshipped through the exact same enactments. But how does Satan deceive Christians, so-called, into doing his will? Don't they recognize his plans, clearly revealed in the Bible they supposedly read and obey? It's easy, just blind them with the necessity to appease their real God, white supremacy. In other words, all that is done in behalf of strengthening white supremacy is sanctioned as righteous and must be fulfilled at any cost. All biblical admonition, doctrine, and instruction must be eliminated and replaced with lies and misrepresentations. As Jesus said in John 8 verse 44, "The lust of your father you will do." White supremacy is the protective coating to allow the National Sunday Law to be enforced. This is a symbiotic relationship, and the cancer that is white supremacy will indeed protect and preserve this church and state abomination to be successful. This totally explains the support behind POTUS 47 and will result in national ruin, already in progress. No one can deny that all that we hold dear and that has made America great is being reversed and repudiated, under the deception that America is in the process of being made great. Again, a lie. This is why you will either hear nothing from sleeping dog pastors, or that lies, crimes, and disgusting behavior is actually God's will. Not when your politician does it, but when ours does it, it is holy, perfect, and necessary. Question: didn't the conservatives or Pharisees of Christ's day deem him a sinner that needed to be eradicated, aka crucified? This bold-faced lie and delusion that appeal to conservatives is the driving force to grant Satan the supremacy. Crucify the truth, then all will be well, so they thought. Essentially, in their minds and hearts, today's conservatives have replaced God. They think God needs help straightening out the world. That cruel and oppressive measures like grinding the poor, helpless, least of these my brethren, will solve all the world's problems. That once their true leader, unknowingly Satan, gets the supremacy, they will prosper, even become like gods, knowing good and evil. This is what is needed today. Project 2025 gives them all that they could want, and Satan could not be happier. Satan gets it by making white supremacists think all will be well by destroying democracy, the truth, and restoring subjugation of all minorities and or anyone that does not agree with them. This is why POTUS 47 can do no wrong. They will pretend he is competent, intelligent, sovereign, a civil servant, tells the truth, and wise, because anyone that can restore white supremacy must be God, no matter what sins they commit. America is at light speed repudiating all its tenets of being a free and fair nation to the extent it ever was, and again, Satan could not be happier. Jesus told us in Luke chapter 12 verse 1 to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Today's Christians rebuke him and call him a liar. Hypocrisy is the means by which all the evil evangelicals can commit gets ignored and even sanctioned as holy and necessary. They don't believe the gospel they pretend to follow, and is powerful enough to save the sinner and the world without force. Jesus never forced anyone, even to heal them. He asked, "Wilt thou be made whole?" At this point, self-righteous conservative hypocrites are hell-bent on destroying the path to the real Creator God, exactly the way Christ said that they do. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men, for ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. Most likely they will not see the gross error of their ways until the judgments of God start to fall in earnest. They will blame everyone else and finally get to commandment-keeping Christians to crucify and eliminate them like what they did to Christ. This they think will stop God's judgments. Many will not come out of the delusion until the fifth plague. Dragon speech reveals all of this when we unpack its meaning. Do you subscribe to dragon speech or the gospel? Do you believe in Satan or God?